Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Midrange Dredge, a deck I played previously on the channel. In my first league throwing it together, I was able to get a trophy. There's a video of that. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to one-up that video. But I had some upgrades that I wanted to make to the deck after some feedback from commenters. And I just like the deck in general. I think it's pretty fun and isn't too bad at all. So this is off of the back of Chitin Gravestalker, which, along with Writhing Necromass, we can have these 1-cost 5-power attackers if we have 5 or 6 creatures in our graveyard. Chitin Gravestalker also counts artifacts, so we have some artifact lands for that. So we can play these for really cheap once we have dredged with our Stinkweed Imp, or just filled our graveyard with Satyr Wayfinders, Malevolent Rumbles, and Mavericks. We're also playing 8 Land Cyclers, which can just add to our creature count in our graveyard, or we can Exhume or Dread Return for a fast creature to attack our opponents. Dragon Breath makes those even faster, giving them haste, whether reanimated or just cast normally. We also have a 1 of Dragon Fangs to give +1/+1 and Trample, which I think will help with our Troll, our Generous Ant, Gravestalker, of course, and especially the Necromass, because Death Touch Trample is a very potent combination. We have Scrapwork Mutt, which is a great way to discard your Stinkweed Imp and immediately dredge it back to hand, and we have a 1 of Knot to the Bone to survive mono red opponents. As far as lands, we have 1 of each of the dual lands that have basic land types, some swamps and forests, again, those artifact lands to help the Gravestalker, and some conduit pylons. For our sideboard, we have 4 Rays of Revelation for Glee, 4 Ancient Grudges for any opponent bringing in artifact graveyard hate, a couple more Knot to the Bone for mono red opponents, a Flaring Pain for Prismatic Strands or Fog, and Rotten Reunions for graveyard matchups. So let's jump into some games. Just a reminder, I recently launched a Patreon account, so if you're interested in supporting me financially, go ahead and check the link in the description. On the play here, and 2 Vaults of Whispers and none of our Land Cyclers. Unfortunate. I mean, these would have been swamps, so yeah, this is not keepable because we don't have a green source. No lands isn't going to work either. Here we have an okay one. We have 2 Trolls, so we can have 3 lands. Probably put back this Dragon Breath, just hope we mill another one with a Wayfinder. Maybe just get rid of the Stinkweed Imp too. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. Hoping these Wayfinders get us what we need to. An Exhume off the top would be pretty good. Island doesn't bode well. They could have a lot of counter spells and bounce spells, which makes our game plan worse. We get a swamp, we're just going to play a Wayfinder. We find all 3 of our dual lands, so definitely grabbing a red one, and an Oliphant. Not quite what we wanted to mill. They brainstorm. Cycle Alorian in their main phase, so I guess they wanted that 1 card, and a nice tunnel. Looks like Fae, probably. Could just be control. We got the Exhume. 1 turn later than I would have preferred, but I'm not complaining. We're going to get the Troll because it doesn't die to Snuff Out. If Snuff Out wasn't a concern, we probably would have gone for Oliphant because it's more damage quicker, but Snuff Out certainly is a concern. They play a Modern Age, so probably Control. Dimir Fae, kind of, with Snackers. No land, though. We get another Exhume. They actually bin a Snacker, so we would have to give them that back, but that's probably fine. Let's play a Wayfinder first. See if we can find something better than an Oliphant. Hit a Stinkweed Imp, not better, but that's okay. Get a Swamp, attack for 7, and I mean, they're going to get this Snacker back anyway, so might as well Exhume, get back our Oliphant. And they do have the Snuff Out. Cost them 4 life, though, so not the end of the world. They discard a Suffocating Fumes, get their 3rd land. Looks like an Extract a Confession. Kill our Troll. Yep. Pass to us. We can dredge a Stinkweed Imp. I think we will. We hit a Dread Return and a Breath Weapon. So I could cast Stinkweed Imp, sack all of them to find a Troll, which is haste. They would need Spell Pierce, but we're going to have mana for that. So I think that's good. Otherwise we hit for, what, 1 here? That doesn't really do anything. Let's Dread Return this Troll. Doesn't die to Snuff Out. Super Menace. Also gets Fire Breathing, so we can actually put them to 1 here. They don't have anything. They concede. They weren't quite dead, but they certainly were close. So got game 1. I don't think they're going to have Graveyard Hate. Certainly not, or I don't think like Relics or Spell Bombs. So I think we're fine there. Ray of Revelation does hit a Modern Age, but I don't think I care too much. And I don't think they're going to have Fogs. Reunions are good, though, because those can get rid of Snackers. Maybe we'll cut like a Generous Ant, because these just die to Snuff Outs. They might cut Snuff Outs, but this also gets chumped, so we need Trample and them to not have a Snuff Out for it to be like decent. I don't think we need a Knot of the Bone either. They're probably just going to go much later. And I don't think we need all 4 Rotten Reunions, so let's just do a couple. Try that. This hand is not very good. All we have is a turn 4 troll off of a Dread Return. That's not going to get there. This one is tough. We have a Conduit Pylons. We don't have a second land, though. But if we find a creature and then a swamp, we can Exhume. We can't even play a Maverick. I think we're going to try it, but it's not good. I guess if we find a second land, we don't even have anything that good. Scrapwork discards a Dragon Breath, but these are still expensive. No, this isn't any good. We got to get rid of it. This one's better, a little bit. So we keep these because they're lands. It's not much better because this has to find a tapped green land, and then these are late. But I guess we're going to get rid of the Dread Return and the Stinkweed Imp. They play a Hard Evidence. Interesting. Was not expecting that. Start with the Bog and pass Necromass. He did a Synod too. So are they playing Disputes? I was not expecting some of these cards for sure. Modern Age discards a Snuff Out, so they did keep some of them in. No Swamp though. Dragon Breath, not a great draw. We got to get our green source here to make something happen. It's also our only hit, so that's fair. They discarded Dimir Aqueduct, so they got to have another black source. Brainstorm. They have a Spell Bomb. Okay, and they have their Tunnel. 3 cards left in hand. Get a Gravestalker. Well, we gotta try to find our land drop with this Wayfinder. We're lucky we hit a Swamp and 3 creatures. That's not gonna give us a Gravestalker. Well, we just want to hit a land. Swamp, Exhume, Dread Return, Scrapwork Mutt. Okay. I guess in this case we would have preferred a Forest for the Rubble Belt this turn, but that's okay. These are only reduced by 2 mana, so if we draw a land next turn we can play a Gravestalker for 4, but that seems pretty bad. We do need to not go too hard on the graveyard, though, until they crack the Spell Bomb. They are playing Deadly Dispute. Sack their Crab. Interesting. Another Necromass. Not great. If I play a Maverick and find 2 creatures, then I can play a Gravestalker. Or I can just unearth a Scrapwork Mutt. That puts a Dragon Breath in the graveyard, draws us a card. We might do that if we don't find 2 creatures. Let's just go for a Maverick. Dragon Breath and a Conduit Pylons. Dragon Breath definitely goes in the bin. Conduit Pylons, I think we want on top because these guys are going to be pricey. We can also cycle a Gravestalker to hit Pylons this turn, so we at least hit our land drop. I think that's worth it. We have enough creatures in the grave. Oh, I guess I could have unearthed the Scrapwork Mutt, kept these guys in hand, and if they wanted to Spellbomb, that's fine, but we'll play a Pylons here. A Wayfinder on top. 3 creatures in grave. I think we leave this on top. No, if we put this in the graveyard, do we think that'll entice them enough? Because if not, I could play a Gravestalker. I think we'll bin it. I want them to crack the Spell Bomb, and we can probably start making them do that by playing a Gravestalker next turn, or a Necromass, and trying to give it haste. They have another Modern Age. They swing for 2. They have another blocker, maybe? Rotten Reunion. So we can play a Necromass and hold up a Rotten Reunion. I think that seems fine. See if they want to give this, let this get haste. They do. That might mean they have another, or they have a removal spell. If they kill it and don't immediately blow up the graveyard, though, we can play a Gravestalker post-combat. We'll swing for 7. They take it. Okay. I mean, that seems alright to me. Leave up the Rotten Reunion. Crack their Clue. Pitch a Snacker. Go for the Brainstorm. We're going to try to reunion it away. That's what it's there for. Oh, this is a new zombie token I haven't seen before. Interesting. They cast down the Necromass. Maybe wanting to Spellbomb now before we go to our turn. Which does leave us in an awkward spot. We don't really have a way to add more creatures to the grave. They don't attack. And they let us go to our main phase. I mean, Gravestalker costs just a black. So I guess we'll cast that while they're letting us. And if they crack in response, we can Reunion to get our 2/2 maybe? They have a counter spell for this. That makes it so that Necromass now costs just a black. I really think they should have blown this up earlier. But I'm not complaining. We're certainly not going to Dread Return until they have... Well, I mean, we're not going to Dread Return with this graveyard at all. There's the Spellbomb. Sack their treasure to pay for it. We can't cast the Reunion, and I don't think I really want to at this point anyway. I think we're just casting a Dragon Breath on this guy. The only other thing, so that we can attack this turn, the only other thing we can do is play the Satyr Wayfinder, and I'd rather use it next turn in case we want to use the graveyard right away. I guess if we mill a Dread Return, a big creature, and a Dragon Breath, then that's a reason to play the Satyr Wayfinder. That seems like too many things to count on. Let's just give this haste and swing for 5. I don't really want to throw away this zombie for 2 damage right now, and I don't want to throw away one of these guys in case we get a Dread Return. I want these guys, but they're at 8. Another Vector Glider. They got a Murmuring Mystic. It's going to start chumping pretty well. Brainstorm, so we need to find Dragon Fangs or an Oliphant that we can reanimate. Cycle a Lorien. Clear the Brainstorm. Play an Ice Tunnel. There's a Scrapwork Mutt. Let's just start with a Wayfinder. We found the Dragon Fangs. Of course, that only comes back if a creature ETBs. We'll get a Forest. I guess we Mutt away the Forest, see if we draw anything. We get a Stinkweed Imp. Not really where we wanted it. We'll attack for 5. They probably just chump with the bird. If they want to triple block with their gliders, they could do that, but that seems ill-advised. They have a Deadly Dispute on the seat of the Synod. Draw 2 and make a bird. Extract a Confession. That's going to eat the Necromass. Does give our Dragon Breath back, so if we can find a Reanimator spell, we can get Haste and Trample. Swing in for 4. Okay. Find a Pylons. Play that. Reunion to the Grave. I think we're attacking with our Mutt. And then we can unearth it next turn. We can do it now, but then we waste the haste and we waste the ability to maybe find like a Dread Return as a surprise. We're going to block. We also have a Rotten Reunion up, so we're just going to play a Stinkweed Imp, hold up the Reunion, a Brainstorm, swing at the Gliders. We're going to trade. And I guess we'll leave the Reunion in case they get another snacker. We don't really need it now. Let's dredge. Find a Dragon Breath and another Imp. Scrapwork doesn't do much. Still, I guess we just go with the Stinkweed again. They want to counter it. That's fine. We'll pass. They swing for 6. This would put us dead next turn. So we're definitely going to Rotten Reunion on the end step, just to see if we can get as much damage as possible. Maybe we can get there. If they have counter spells, we're probably going to die here, though. I think we got a Dredge. Found a Dread Return. So Dread Return on a Troll would be lethal, assuming that they don't have anything, but we know they're going to. So let's Scrapwork Mutt. Potentially we can Dread Return twice if we find another one. And if they can't stop both of them, we might be able to get there. Dredge. We did not find another one. Dread Return a Troll, sacking our 1-power creatures. They have the counter spell. All we got left is a Maverick. Swing with the whole team. We hit them for 2, maybe 4. But I think we got to save them for a Dread Return. They have a Snuff Out for the Mutt, which means that they have 6 birds. So even if I play the Stinkweed Imp, block the Glider, we're going to die now. All right. We are dead. Maybe a 1 of Nod to the Bone's not bad. I think most matches it's not bad. It's just tough to know. Like, if we had one there, we could survive longer. That doesn't necessarily mean we would have won, though. This hand is not exciting and has some cards we don't want in our hand, but at least one Scrapwork Mutt to get rid of it. I think we'll start with a Maverick, or do we want to just start with the top land? I guess we'll go with the Maverick. Try to find a black land. Troll, maybe, would be good. Stinkweed and a Dragon Breath. Well, those are 2 good ones to put in the grave. No doubt about it. They have a Hard Evidence as a blocker. We're going to dredge. Get a Scrapwork Mutt and a Dread Return. No big creatures, though, is annoying. We're going to swing a damage at them. Boom. Ice Tunnel for them. We need a land. Gravestalker. I can Scrapwork Mutt the Stinkweed Imp, which dredges. I kind of just need a land, though, so I think we're going to Satyr Wayfinder here. Swamp would be best. Tree of Tails is not a swamp. And more not creatures. Only 1 creature and 9 cards. Pretty unlucky. I think our deck's at least half creatures. It is exactly half creatures. Another Hard Evidence. I mean, these are looking pretty good here. Good blockers. Another Gravestalker. These don't even cost that little. I guess I can Stinkweed. I can Scrapwork Mutt, Stinkweed Imp. We have a Dread Return, so we just need 1 big guy and we can Dread Return, but they probably have a counter spell up. And I need a black mana, just 1 black mana. So I guess we're going to cast this guy and get rid of the Fangs. So we already have haste in the grave. We found a Necromass. Got a lot of black sources in the deck. They Brainstorm. Cycle a Lorien. They pass. We find the Troll. It's so late, but I guess we can't even start casting these because they're only reduced by 1, 2 once we play the Troll. Ugh. I guess we can Scrapwork Mutt, Stinkweed, and if we hit... That's one of our 2 creatures, so we have to hit 4 creatures to be able to play a Gravestalker, but what else are we going to do? Looks like they're casting a Suffocating Fumes. Yeah. To wipe our whole board. Pretty annoying. I mean, I guess that adds a bunch of creatures for our Gravestalker. Or Hedge the Stinkweed Imp. 7. I mean, we got plenty now, and we can give this haste, so I guess we'll play a Writhing Necromass. Maybe they helped us out here. We'll give it haste, and +1/+1 to trample. We'll leave the other Dragon Breath, though. Swing for 6. They take it. They have a Modern Age. Been a Snacker. Another Hard Evidence. We need to dredge another Imp, because I think we just want more black sources for the Gravestalkers we have. Yeah, I don't think we need this. Oliphant can find another black source. Also have Scrapwork Mutts for the Stinkweed Imp in hand if we want. Let's just play a Gravestalker. They can counter this. That's fine. They only have 1 card in hand. They have clues, though, but it's going to take them a little while to get there, so maybe we'll be okay. Let's see. Cyclist Oliphant. I also have a Rubblebelt Maverick. I probably want to throw that on the Necromass to make it lethal in 2 hits. Grab our Bog. We're not really doing anything else with this mana, right? Scrapwork Mud, I think we're saving for a turn that we can potentially Dread Return, so yeah, let's go for this. We also have the Dragon Breath to pump for 1. I think their Suffocating Fumes may have inadvertently killed them. Like, it's just... It made it so we could actually play our creature, and they need removal for it now. Or they're toast. Down to 6. I mean, if they hadn't Suffocating Fumes, we could have sacked 3 of our guys for a Dread Return, but I don't think I would have done that because of counterspell potential. They discard a Seat of the Synod, then Brainstorm, get back their Snacker. I mean, they're not quite dead because these can each block a damage. I guess if I pump it with 2 Dragon Breaths, though, that is lethal. Plus, I can play a Gravestalker as another attacker. I still don't think I need a Stinkweed from the grave. Well, I'll just draw one then. So do I cast this Gravestalker now, or do I potentially wait because I might want this Dragon Fangs on it? Like, if they actually have the removal for this, I'm going to want Trample on this guy, because they're going to have a lot of chump blockers for it. I think we just attack and see what they got. They have the cast down. Okay. So that means next turn I can Gravestalker with haste. So this turn I Scrapwork Mutt and Stinkweed Imp. So I can bin more creatures. No, next turn, if I play Stinkweed Imp now, next turn I can do unearth 2 Scrapwork Mutts, Dread Return, and then also play a Gravestalker, both of which will have haste. So I think that's probably our goal. Just play a Stinkweed Imp. I guess there's no reason to not keep this Dragon Breath. Like, I could put it on this guy, make it a more powerful attacker. I don't think it's going to get through, though. I think we'll just pass. I do get to crack a clue. Start buying back those cards. It's possible I should have played the Gravestalker because this way it's opened up to a counterspell, whereas if I played it then, they would have had to have the counterspell right there. It's more of a surprise, but I don't know. Don't know which is better. They have a Thorn of the Black Rose, okay. Death Touch is pretty annoying, but they tapped mostly out for that. So if they don't have 2 mana for a counterspell or a removal spell, we might be okay here. If we can get 2 giant guys going. We're not going to dredge. Another Gravestalker. I think we're just playing 1 from hand and then 1 from the grave, though, with this Scrapwork Mutts. So let's cast this guy. I guess I don't want the Fangs on this, so I should have gone for the Necromass first to see if it would have resolved, because if they have a Spell Pierce, it's going to get a Dread Return. But Trample on this is not anywhere near as good as the Death Toucher, so we're going to decline here, accept here, decline. Here's a Mutt, Stinkweed, and Dredge, Maverick. Here's another Scrapwork, Stinkweed, and Dredge, Reunion. And then we're going to Dread Return back a Necromass for the Death Touch, sacking these 3 and hope it doesn't need a Spell Pierce. It did not. Trample and haste. So swing with both. I know they can just trade the Thorn for this guy, but they have to put, I guess, only 1 guy in front of this. But yeah, this is the one they want to kill more, importantly. And a bunch of guys against it. We're also going to get the Monarch as an extra draw. And then, oh yeah, they can trade for this way. That's fine too. Kill their entire board though. And we still have at least one haster next turn. Take the Monarch. And they don't have a way to, I guess they could have a Brainstorm at the end step. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to take the Monarch. We're just going to draw normally. Every time we draw normally, it's a Stinkweed Imp. They don't have the Brainstorm, so we have the Monarch, unless they have another Thorn, which I guess would be pretty good for them. They're going to Deadly Dispute a Clue, get back the Snacker. Modern Age. They don't have a counterspell or removal spell. This Gravestalker can get there. Crack their Clue token. They gotta have a 1-mana answer then. They concede. Oh, nice. What a match, dude. That was quite back and forth. A lot of fun, though. All right, round 2 here. We have the turn 2 Scrapwork Stinkweed, so I think we're going to keep this one based on that. But Dragon Breath in hand is already kind of a mull to 6. Dread Return, not great either in hand. But we can Scrapwork the Stinkweed and then maybe just get a Gravestalker off of that. Or we're on the draw, so we could top deck a Troll of Khazad-dûm, and then we could top deck an Exhume. That'd be alright, too. They have a Candy Trail after a Swamp. This could be Grixis Affinity, and they just found their one of Swamp. Maybe like a Mono Black or something. Maybe a Golgari Gardens. Candy Trail is not one you see in every deck. 2 to the top. Lucky. Another Scrapwork. I mean, that's going to fill the grave pretty quick. Would have loved a 1-drop. Or a Cycler or something as 1-drops, you know. Something to do. Forest Wellspring. Okay, maybe Brood Scale. Maverick. Not at the right time. Let's go with the Mutt. Been a Stinkweed Imp. We got 3 Necromasses and another Stinkweed Imp. Okay. I mean, that's a 2-mana Gravestalker right now. Plus we can dredge a Stinkweed Imp, so maybe a 1-mana. We're lucky it gets haste. Shambling Ghast. Definitely Brood Scale's my guess. I'm gonna dredge this. Maverick, we get a Dragon Fangs and an Oliphant. So that is 5 creatures and Trample. Not haste, though, and unfortunately all of our Necromasses, all but one, is in the grave. We can Maverick to see if we find a Dragon Breath, which should be good, and then still play the Gravestalker, and also maybe find a land, because we do want at least a 3rd land, ideally. Stinkweed and a Forest. We'll keep the Forest and bin the Stinkweed. We're going to attack for 2. If they want to trade this for both of these guys, that's fine. I think more likely they'll block and dispute, but I guess they already have a dispute for the Wellspring. Or they have a Wellspring for the dispute, rather. Or they might just go for the treasure. No, they're going to ping them both off. That's fine. Well, we're going to play this Gravestalker. 6/5 Trample ain't bad against Brood Scale. We can also buff it with 2 Mavericks if we want. They dispute the Wellspring all the way up to 7 cards. They have another Ghast. Not as good at chump blocking now, though. Landscape. We have a Forest on top, so we're not going to dredge this one because we want that Forest. But I think we're going to Maverick 1 time here and then Stinkweed Imp to mill. Or rather, Scrapwork Mutt a Stinkweed Imp with our other mana. Attack for 7. They take it. I could also discard this Dragon Breath or the Dread Return, both of which wouldn't be bad to have in our grave. Dread Return, we only need 1 more Swamp for. I think we actually want the Dragon Breath in the grave, but the Stinkweed Imp can find a Dragon Breath. It's always a tough call. If we don't hit one with the Imp, I'm going to feel silly, but we already have an Imp to dredge back as well, so this is 10 cards. So we should find one eventually. Well, there wasn't one there. Just a Troll and a Gravestalker. They're going to Insight the Ghast, ping off the Mutt. No red mana for our Mutts from the grave is pretty annoying too. They have Brood Scale. If they just have the combo, we're obviously dead. Duress us. Well, they can choose which one of these they want in the grave. I don't hate that. They choose the Dragon Breath. Interesting. I would have gone for the other one. No Glee. Alright, so do we Stinkweed Imp? Because actually, there's nothing we can hit that's going to reanimate very well, because we don't have enough creatures in the grave. We need a red. We got a Dragon Breath in the grave, so I think we're just drawing naturally. Gravestalker's not bad. I guess Gravestalker we play, it just gets chumped by the spawn, but then they have to make another spawn. Yeah, we're going to play it, give it haste, Maverick up this Gravestalker, and attack with everything. If they get the combo, we will be dead. They block here, probably have a safekeeping. They do. Crack their Candy Trail as well. So they're at 10. They have the Glee, and they can activate and attack. Alright, we lose. We get 4 Rays of Revelation to blow up the Glee. That's really all we got. Nod to the Bone doesn't matter. We just need to be fast. Generous Sense get chumped way too easily. Of course, they're just lands as well, but I think we're cutting some of these. I'm trying these Rumbles over Blanchwood Prowlers. I haven't drawn the Rumble yet, which makes it obviously seem worse, because every time they've gotten milled, it's not a creature and has been a bit problematic. So I'm not sure I'm loving that. We have a Ray in our hand, a Dragon Breath in our hand, and 2 Stinkweed Imps. So this is like a Multa 3. And then we have a Necromass, so this is terrible. This one's better, still not great, but we at least have lands. We can Scrapwork them out away this Fangs or the Imp. I guess we'll keep this one. I think we're putting the Fangs back, though. Opponent also mulls to 6. We have a Gardens, we get a Swamp. Okay, I mean, let's us Scrapwork Mutt here. We also do have a Dread Return on turn 4 for one of these guys. If we can get some haste going, that'd be good. There's a Breath and a Troll. Exhume. Okay. Got a decent start here. They have a Rumble or a Candy Trail, so they're going to play right away. 0 top. Exhume. They don't have a creature in their grave, and we have a Troll with a Dragon Breath, so that's pretty good. What are the chances they brought in Snuff Out? Probably low, right? Because I could also just get an Oliphant, which is more damage faster. So I cycle this. Oh, but I can't cycle this for an untapped land, because we didn't put any mountains, so I can't do that, which means we're just going to go for the Troll. So we'll cycle this one for a Swamp. That's good to know. I did have to make that sacrifice. I thought about putting in a mountain, but you can see we've already had a bit rough with our mana sometimes, so I don't think it's worth it. Let's Exhume, get back our Troll, give it some haste, and swing for 8. This is the start we want against Brood Scale. They take it, so they want this plant for a Deadly Dispute, I would assume, as opposed to saving 2 life from the Mutt. Another plant, pass. Another Troll, so I could Maverick up the Troll, more damage, because they have a Candy Trail, which gains them life, so they're at virtual 15. I could just play a Stinkweed Imp, cycle a Troll, get a Stinkweed. I kind of want to cycle this Oliphant, but that means we have to get a tap land, which means I guess I can put the Maverick on here. But then we have an extra damage from the Breath next turn, potentially. Alright, we're going to buff this guy up. Swing for 9. I expect a block and a Dispute this turn. No. They take it, but crack their Candy Trail. Okay, I guess they want enough blockers for the Troll. Next turn, I would guess. Cycle the Oliphant, play it, and pass. Another Colony Garden. I mean, yeah, I guess that blocks the Troll. 3 mana. Why do I feel like this is Last Rites? Maybe it's just Nadir's Nightblade. They think better of it. Do I want to cycle this Troll? It doesn't really do anything from hand. So yes. The Swamp. Maybe I should have gone for the red source so we'd have the Dragon Breath. Another Maverick. I can Dread Return, but we don't have haste on anything. This is crazy probably, but I could play the Maverick, Dread Return, reanimate our Troll, and then sacrifice our Troll, our other Troll, and our Maverick to get our Oliphant, which will have haste now because the Dragon Breath will be in grave. And then Oliphant and Scrapwork Mutt is 10 trample, so they would have to have a Tamiyo's safekeeping to survive, or removal, of course, as opposed to Troll, which doesn't have that. I mean, we might as well just start with the Maverick, because if I just surveil a Dragon Breath into grave, I won't even have to jump through the hoops of that. Stinkweed and a Vault. Yeah, those are going in the grave. Is it worth it? Because otherwise they just triple block here, probably Dispute. They take 2. Probably dead next turn, but is there a chance that they could win? Certainly, if they have a Nadir's... If they just have the 3 pieces, they could definitely win this next turn. It's not that hard for him to have a safekeeping, though. I would have... The problem is I'd have to sack this Troll. Also, if they have any graveyard hate, it's terrible, obviously. It's such a risk, but if they don't have anything other than Dispute, it wins. It would also mean they can't dispute any of these. They have to chump with all of them, which means they draw less. This might be crazy. It might be a throw, but we're going to go for it. So I can't reanimate the Oliphant here. I have to reanimate a Troll or a Stinkweed. Doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to Dread Return on the Oliphant, sacrificing these 3. This is crazy. Give the Oliphant haste, an attack for 10 trample. They have the safekeeping, which means I guess they can dispute this at the end step. Still puts them to 1, as opposed to they would have been at 4, plus still had the safekeeping. Oh my gosh. we got there. I don't know if that play mattered because it looks like they might not have drawn anything anyway. They clearly didn't have the dispute, but it didn't backfire, which is good. So kind of crazy. We still have one more game to go, but that was kind of cool. All right, we finally have the turn 2 troll. Exhume. Is it worth it? Because otherwise we have 3 bad cards. This can find a red source, but it's against Brood Scale, and they're not really going to be able to deal with a troll. I think this is a tough call. Usually I would absolutely snap keep this, but these 3 cards are all so useless in hand. But against an uninteractive opponent like this, I think it might be okay. If they have kept in duresses and duress us and take the Exhume, then this hand just becomes garbage. So hopefully that will not happen. Start with a landscape. Get a Tree of Tails. I guess we have all our colors because we're going to find a red source with the troll since we already have untapped lands for the turn 2. They forest and just throw out a Brood Scale. Maybe they just beat us to it. They just have the turn 3. I guess we'll find out, though. We're not beating a turn 3 no matter what, though. Maybe I guess we could have a Ray of Revelation already, but it seems unlikely. And another Necromass. Well, here's the Exhume. They have a Colony Garden. They have the Glee. Stinkweed Imp. I guess a Deadly Dispute wins it for them because they sack this, sets this off. Well, all we have to do is attack for 6 and we can play a Stinkweed Imp as a blocker. And if they have it, they have it. There's the Insight. So they just need the Nadirs or a removal spell. There's a Wellspring and another. Deadly Dispute. Andy Trail. Draw a card. Dispute again. And there's the Nadir's Nightblade. So they are able to get there. Our turn 2 troll was not fast enough. Oh, what an opener. 3 Exhumes, a single troll, and I would keep it. But no. No lands. 1 land, 1 troll, and an Exhume. Unfortunately, this is a tap land, so it might not be turn 2, but this is a keepable one. Get rid of the Gnaw and the Stinkweed Imp. Hopefully this Rumble puts enough in for the Necromass. Play an island. Another Exhume. Okay. Start with a Ridgeline. Mono Blue Fae with a Brine Barrow. Exhume, not the best game plan because they have snaps and obviously a lot of counter spells. I just go for a big ninja here, though. Can't do anything about that for a while. Well, really at all, but we can't even have a blocker for it. Satyr Wayfinder, so all we got to do is cycle this troll. Nothing to do with 1 mana, so we might as well just get our tap land. Taking another 2, giving them another draw. Definitely feels like such a slow Exhume, even if it is on turn 3. Miscreant and pass. Dragon Fangs. I think anything we play probably gets spell stuttered here. I don't think we're going to Exhume. I think we're going to Rumble, try to find a land. Yep, they got the spell stutter. They swing for 4. I think this is a tough matchup for us. Although they're not going to have Graveyard Hate from the sideboard. Bone Splitter, that's kind of a spicy one. Oliphant. No untapped land from an Oliphant, as we've discussed. So I kind of have to choose if I want a land from that or if I want to play like a Satyr Wayfinder or an Exhume. I think at this point, Exhume is kind of necessary, and if this doesn't resolve, we're probably dead anyway. They have a Spell Pierce. Let's just go to the next game. Too slow. Turn 3 Exhume, not fast enough. We really don't have a sideboard here, though. So we're just going to ship it back, hope we get a better draw. Get another Exhume hand, but we have the Wayfinders. It's a little better. Not the turn 2 Exhume, although that would probably potentially get Spell Pierced anyway. But we just get a Wayfinder. We're going to start with the Seer. Well, now we wish we had the Troll. Of course, it gets snapped too. Scrapwork, Mutt. Let's just go for a Wayfinder. Try to hit that next land. Gravestalker, Stinkweed, and a Dragon Breath in hand. Or Graveyard. Second hand, you know what I'm saying. That's what's up. They attack for 1. Just pass to us. We're going to dredge this Stinkweed Imp. We get a Nod of the Bone, Troll, Generous Ent. So the only good thing we have against fairies is that Stinkweed Imp is hard to counter because it'll just come right back, and it doesn't get countered by a spell setter here, and it makes their blocks really hard. So anything we play here for 2 mana probably just gets spell stuttered. So as much as I want to find another land for this Wayfinder, I think we're just playing Stinkweed Imp. I could also try an Exhume, which would be great, but I just don't think that's going to resolve, so let's cast this guy. So ideally, we just draw another land next turn naturally, and we can play 2 2-drops, and they can only counter 1 of them. They just snap the Stinkweed Imp. Well, that's annoying. I mean, they found it annoying as well. I'm not going to attack with the Wayfinder in case we want it for a Dread Return, and they have like a Brine Barrow and can just eat it. Doesn't feel good to me. Attack, and they turn it into a ninja. Only 1 mana left, though. They play the Seer again, so we can go for an Exhume on a Troll. Attack for 7. We also got a Conduit Pylons. Let's play that. Stinkweed Imp, put that in the grave. Let's go for a Scrapwork Mutt. Dredge this Stinkweed Imp. Actually, I can just get rid of this Dragon Breath. Dredge the Imp we already have. But then I won't have a Dredge for next turn when I might want it. So yeah, let's just do this one. Get a Rubble Belt, another Dragon Breath. Okay, and now we can go for an Exhume. I could get a Generous Ent to try to block, but I think we're just going aggro. Attack for 7. They're going to snap the Troll. Understandable. We do have a cheap Necromass, though. Swing with just the Fairy. Nice, this Mutt keeps back the Ninja. Dredge our Stinkweed Imp. We already have a land with the Troll, so I think we'll do that. Hit another Stinkweed Imp and a Mutt. Cycle Troll for a Swamp. I think we're going to play a Stinkweed Imp, and if they counter that, I can get a Necromass through. And if they don't, it just blocks pretty well. And I might not even Necromass then, because I want to wait until they're tapped out for this, I think. Yeah, because if I do it now, it almost definitely eats a counter spell. Unless all they have is a Spell Stutter. Because next turn I could Wayfinder and Stinkweed Imp, or like Scrapwork. I think we're going to pass, try to make them waste their 2 mana here, I guess. They're going to pass. We can Dredge another Imp. I think that seems good. It's a good blocker, nothing else. We hit a Dread Return and another Imp. That's the 4th one. Not going to be Dread Returning while they have mana open, though. 8 creatures for Gnaw to the Bone. I'm going to start with a Wayfinder, see if they want to like Spell Stutter that. They do. I cast a Necromass. If that gets countered, I could go for a Dread Return. I could just cast another Stinkweed Imp. I'll do that. This does open them up, the order that I play them in, to play another Spell Stutter on this. Yeah, that might have been wrong. I maybe should have done it the other order. I could Dread Return on a Troll and hit for 6 here. 1 snap from them makes this pretty bad, though. They have a snap, they can use it on a Stinkweed. It's already not great. I think we can wait another turn. They can't swing, which is nice. That means probably no Brine Barrow, or maybe just no Ninjas to make it worthwhile. We'll get back another Stinkweed. Hit a bunch more creatures, so Onto the Bone is going to be crazy good. We'll just play a Stinkweed Imp. They want to counter this, that's fine. They don't. Play a Necromass now. See if they want to counter that. If not, I probably go, or rather if they do, I can probably Dread Return, unless they have double counterspell. They do. I think we're going to go for it. Dread Return on... We still don't have Fangs, so I don't think the Death Toucher is necessary. I think we're just going for a Troll. Leave up a Stinkweed Imp. See if they want to counter this. If they do, we still get to just Maverick onto the Stinkweed Imp and have a blocker. They have a Spell Pierce, yeah. That's definitely annoying. I maybe should have played around the Spell Pierce a little bit better. Because if I had thought about Spell Pierce, I could have done it before I did the Necromass. Then they would have had to use the hard counter on that, and then the Spell Pierce wouldn't have worked. 2 cards in hand for them, though. We have decent blockers here. We're gonna keep dredging a Stinkweed Imp, I guess. We hit 2 more Dread Returns. Can't get 2 creatures here, though, because if we Scrapwork Mutt, we bin a Stinkweed. We don't have the mana for the other one. Maybe I just bin a Dragon Breath, though. See if we get a land. Conduit Pylons. Nice. Play that. Dragon Fangs into the grave. Could play a Stinkweed and go for another Dread Return, but that just seems like a counterspell. Even a Spell Pierce Rexus again. So I think we just swing for 2 here. They take it. We play another Stinkweed Imp. Next turn, maybe I could go for a Dread Return, as long as, you know, leaving up the buffed Stinkweed, potentially. They're passing. I don't think we're dredging anymore. We're low on cards, and Generous Ent's not bad. Just getting to hard cast that. If it needs a counterspell, that's fine. Gotta get through him at some point. Alright, and that also still triggers stuff. So I can give it Trample and Haste. I guess we might as well. Yes to a Dragon Breath. Yes to a Dragon Fangs. And we'll swing for 6. Put him to 5. So that was a good draw. Forgot about all the dragon stuff we got for this Ent. Draw naturally. We get a Rumble. I guess we'll cast that. And they concede. Alright. Yeah, Generous Ent looks like they didn't have any interaction for it, so it was going to be able to... it wouldn't quite kill them this turn, unless we swung out, I guess. They block. Yeah, still wouldn't quite kill them, but they were in a bad spot, and we were digging for something else. Okay, this is a turn 4 Dread Return. We have a Maverick on 2, and then we just have lands. until we get to an Oliphant. This one doesn't seem great. I think we kind of want to get Stinkweeds or something. Here's an Exhume, but no green mana. No, this one's not going to work either. Ugh, possibly we should have kept hand number 1 down to 4. I mean, this one's got a Stinkweed Imp and an Oliphant, so I guess we get rid of Gravestalker, Vault. Turn 1 we play Conduit Pylons and cycle the Oliphant. I think we need the Stinkweed though. This is a land. I guess we just get rid of a swamp here. They play a Fairy Seer. We get another Pylons. I mean, that can help set up our draw. Cycle the Oliphant in response. Get red-green. I guess we get red-black so that we can play the Stinkweed Imp, and then the Maverick we can play with the Conduit Pylons if we need to. Bin a Dread Return. They swing and they got the Ninja again. I can chump it for a turn with the Rebel Belt Maverick. Rumble. Well, it's Pylons. Gravestalker. We only have 1 creature in our graveyard so far, so that's got to get binned. Play a Maverick. Exhume and a Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath's gone for sure. Exhume. If we keep Exhume, we can't play anything next turn. So we have 2. We only have 1 mana of any color, so I guess we're looking for another land. As much as Exhume would be nice, I don't think it's what we need here. Maybe we should have played the Bog so that we could play something next turn, but I thought the Maverick would help us find it. I think we're going to chump, try to keep him off cards as long as possible. Vault of Whispers, I mean, that lets us play our Stinkweed Imp, so that's not a bad draw. If they counter it, so be it. If not, it's a good blocker. They do have the counter spell. They hit us for 2 and draw a card. We can dredge our Stinkweed Imp. I think we do. Just keep dredging, try to push through. We get a Gnaw to the Bone. Let's play Stinkweed Imp, see if it walks into another counter spell. Not this time. They might have a Snap or just a Brine Barrow for it. Or a Snaremaster Spray. They got a lot of interaction. Spell Stutter. Okay. If they swing with both, we're going to block the Spell Stutter. Just because if they have a Brine Barrow, I'd rather not lose the Stinkweed right away. They're going to draw a card, I know that, but they're going to lose a card here or have to use the Brine Barrow. And this way they don't get back a Spell Stutter in hand. They pass. We have 4 creatures in our graveyard, so Gravestalker costs 2. Which means if we play Rumble with this Conduit Pylons and it gets countered, we don't get the Gravestalker. But I don't think we're just sending a Gravestalker out here, so yeah, let's see what we got here. Probably Spell Pierce? No. Okay, we find a Necromass, and this also makes it so the Gravestalker's 1 mana. We also find a Dread Return. We're going to cast this, probably gets countered, but that's okay. If not, we get to attack for 6, because it's got Trample, +1/+1, and Haste. Okay, there's a counterspell. Well, the Rumble resolving was pretty good, because we at least got this spawn, which could be a chump blocker, and we filled our graveyard a little more. Oh, I do keep forgetting about the artifact clause of Chitin Gravestalker. It costs 1 less for each artifact, so actually it was only 1 mana even before we did the Rumble. I really need to remember that, because that's why we're playing the artifact lands. It's relevant. They have a Fairy Seer. They cast a Tormod's Crypt. That's pretty annoying. And just exile our graveyard. Well, there goes our 1 of Gnaw to the Bone. And just about everything we had, to be honest. Surprised they didn't attack first, because I probably would have blocked here. And then they could have gotten it away. But we're going to block, and if they have the Brine Barrow, we will just dredge back the Stinkweed. Either way, we're dredging it, I think. Okay, we trade. Definitely going to dredge. Exhumes 3 of them and a Wayfinder. Not great. Well, all we got to do is a Stinkweed Imp. We can't even cast the Necromass for if we wanted to. I mean, Stinkweed is really powerful against fairies, I will admit. Like, casting it over and over is just really good. Hard for them to deal with. They have the Snap. They're going to attack and turn it into a Ninja. Moon Circuit Hacker. Replay the Seer. Scry 2 to the bottom. Looking for another Tormod's Crypt, maybe? Gravestalker. Well, we don't have any artifact lands in our graveyard, so that's still only reduced by 1. So I guess we're casting the Stinkweed Imp again. Hoping that they at least have to counter a trade with it so that it can go to our graveyard so we can dredge it back. They swing just with the Hacker? No, both. Alright, we're going to block here because I'm going to take free kills of fairies when I have them, even if I do want to dredge this Imp. More than that, I want them to not do anything, not draw more cards. Generous Hat. So I can cycle that for a forest, and I can actually forecast a Gravestalker. Plus, we kind of have been needing a green source for a while, so I guess we're trying that. We're still 2 lands away from the Generous Hat, so I Don't see a reason to keep it here. Play a Gravestalker. Doesn't get countered. I'm not going to swing, though, because if they have a snap for this, they'll get in with this, and 1 damage when they're at 20 is not worth that. But I'll definitely start attacking with the Gravestalker. They play an island. They have a hardcast Ninja of the Deep Hours. Okay, things might be looking up here. Another Stinkweed. We're going to swing for 5. Double block sounds great. Okay. And otherwise I just get either a Stinkweed or a Writhing Necromass. They didn't have a counterspell last turn, though. So I think I'm just going to go with the Necromass. Okay, they do have the counterspell this turn. Fair enough. I still have a blocker for the Ninja. So we'll block. See if they... I've been saying Brine Bearer all day, but apparently they don't have one. They do get to loot here. Get rid of a Spell Stutter, so they got all gas in hand. Dredge a Stinkweed. See, we don't have a mana to play both. And I don't think we want to dredge it this turn. State of Wayfinder's not bad. Let's cast that. That's a good blocker. It fits into our curve, so we can play it and Stinkweed Imp, and it fills our graveyard. And I really don't care if it gets countered too badly. It doesn't. We hit a Stinkweed and a Rubblebelt Maverick. No lands. We're going to hit for 5. Do this before the Stinkweed in case they have like a snap. We can just replay it. They do. I prefer to play that than to play the Stinkweed. And I could Rubblebelt this turn. If I put it on this and it gets snapped... They've already used 3, right? Or no, that was a different game. 1, 2. They've used 2 so far. I think we'll do it now, just since we have the mana. If it gets snapped again, so be it. I don't want to put it on the Wayfinder because I'm probably going to trade this off here, especially if they have like a Snare Master or Snap for this. They have a Miscreant. Pass to us. Still don't have that extra land since our Wayfinder didn't find one, so I think we'll just draw again. Dread Return's not bad. We don't have haste at the moment, though. So we're going to just go to combat. Hit for 6. They take it. I'm going to Dread Return a Generous Ent. Just as much damage as a Necromass, but it blocks and gains us life. This could get Spell Pierced. So maybe that's a reason to play Stinkweed. But I still have a blocker for the Moon Circuit. All right, we got there against Fae. I don't know if this is a great matchup. I will say the Stinkweeds are crazy good here. But in that first game, especially when we didn't have them, it felt like there was really nothing we could do. But turned out well. We're on the play here. We got the Exhume, but only 1 land. Keep getting these Dragon Breaths in hand, too. Oh, God, more Exhumes. We have 8 Cyclers in the deck. It should not be happening this much. Down to 5. Now we got the Cyclers, but no Exhume, but at least it's a keepable hand. We will get rid of one of these swamps because I have so many here. And I guess we want the Rumble, so maybe even get rid of another Troll. All right. So we're going to cycle the Troll first. Bajuka Bog turn 1. Well, if they have any bounce lands, then we got to worry about this. Otherwise, that's pretty good. We're going to just grab the Forest because we want to Rumble here. Dragon Fangs, not a good draw. Rumble, we find Oliphant, Rubblebelt, Dread Return. I think if I get the Maverick, I have a spawn from this. I only need 1 more creature for a Dread Return. So I think we'll do that. So like if I just top deck something. Troll, Cycle. It's not a mirror, is it? Bajuka Bog probably means Sunlit Marsh. Okay. So it looks like it might be GlintBlade, in which case the Bajuka Bog coming back is going to be relevant. Dragon Breath. Stop drawing these cards. This might be too many. I will say we originally had 3 Dragon Breaths in the deck, and now we have 4 Dragon Breath and a Dragon Fangs. So I think we might be running a little too many. Okay, I'm going to cycle Troll, hit our land drop, get our red one, and then play our Maverick. Try to bin a couple more creatures so we can get this Necromass down. Stinkweed's a good one, and Exhume we're going to keep on top. Although they have a Troll in their graveyard. How important is that? I guess Stinkweed, we can Dredge next turn, and then we can go for the Dread Return. So maybe I don't need this Exhume. Oh, but we don't have haste yet. Oh, God. This Dragon Breath's in our hand. I think we're going to get rid of Exhume. Them having the Troll is just unfortunate. Dread Return also gets worse if they're playing Tithing Blades, if they are GlintBlade, because sacking all our guys to make just 1 is rough. Lembas kind of tells me they are, especially if they play a Glint Hawk here. They don't play the Hawk. We're going to Dredge. We have 5 creatures in our graveyard. And if this Rumble was a Blanchwood, we might have more. I guess we'd only have seen 3 cards, so it would be very different. 5 creatures, so I could play a Necromass, but without haste, or I could then Dragon Breath it, sacking the spawn to give it haste. That's not bad. And they only have 1 mana up, so I think we do that while we can. We do have to sack a spawn, which is either Tithing Blade fodder or Dread Return fodder, but hitting for 5 seems good. I think we need to get started attacking here. And ideally, they don't have removal for this for 1 mana. Yeah, they have a Snuff Out, which they use on our Maverick. Probably means they have a Tithing Blade, but still got to hit him down to 11. There it is. Glint Hawk, pick up the Tithing probably. No, they go for the Lembas. Let's dredge another Stinkweed Imp. I already have 1 in hand. What does doing another one really get me here? Not much, I don't think. Let's just draw Dragon. Oh, every single time I say no to the Dredge, I draw Dragon Breath. Alright, we'll play a Stinkweed Imp. They have a Lembas. They have a Blood Fountain. Still 3 mana here. They're going to attack. I'll take 2, though. Dredge another Stinkweed. I could cast that. I kind of want to Dragon Wings this Stinkweed Imp now. And we're kind of wanting to draw our Necromasses, so I think we're just going to draw. Scrapwork Mutt's fine. I could Scrapwork Mutt and then Rubble Belt Maverick to buff this up just as much. So let's play a Scrapwork. I guess this way, if I draw a Necromass, I can't actually play it this turn. Let's get rid of the Breath and just draw naturally. Stinkweed Imp. Well, we drew it anyway. Put a counter on this and attack for 2. They have a Familiar. That's fine. We'll get rid of this. Fangs. Kind of want the Fangs. I guess I'll get rid of Stinkweed Imp. I can get it back if I want. They Deadly Dispute. The Blood. Play another Familiar. That's fine. We'll get rid of Fangs. They swing for 2. We have another Stinkweed. I could just... I mean, it's not a bad blocker here either. I can swing with these 2. If they want to double block here, that's fine. Yeah, I guess we'll get it this time. We have nothing else to play. We do get rid of some more of those guys. Dread Return 2. I could Dread Return back a Troll and hit for 7. We lose our whole board, and then if they have a Tithing Blade, we're dead in the water. But they're at 2. We start getting back Stinkweed Imps. That seems not good, unfortunately. I think we're just going to swing, even though this might decrease our count, our creature count for Dread Returns. These are also still just a reasonable chunk of their life, so they kind of have to block appropriately. Yeah, block this Scrapwork. We'll just play another Stinkweed. They have a Core Skyfisher. That's going to bog us, I would assume. No, they bring back the Familiar. Okay. Well, they draw a card off of that. I feel like getting the bog back would be pretty good. We can go for another Stinkweed. Just play it. How did they get through? We attack with these. Play another Stinkweed? Sure. I mean, actually now, they do have 3 blockers, so we can't go for the Troll line now. I mean, it would trade for their whole board, but they have the blockers. So yeah, we'll get the Stinkweed, though. We have the Scrapwork Mutt. If we force them to block with a couple creatures here, though, we can maybe Dread Return at some point. They're going to go for the full blocks. No, they think better of it. Just take the 2. We will play another Stinkweed Imp. We have rotating Imps. 1 on board, 1 in hand, 1 in graveyard. Well, sometimes 2 on board. Another Familiar, drawing them a lot of cards. Play a Plains. And play a Skyfisher. I am not sure that they're thinking about how important this bog would be. They are drawing a lot of cards from their Familiars, though. I can't deny that. I just want them to tap out and attack with their creatures. They're attacking here, because if they're tapped out, then we can get them with the Troll. I mean, if they even just play their other Familiar, they'll only have 1 mana, and I don't think they're going to be able to get us with 1 mana. But if they have 2 mana, they could have a Cast Down, they could even have a Thraben Charm. So I think we just take this and hope they play a Familiar. If they need to not play 2 creatures, though, is the problem. Okay, they didn't play anything. I definitely think they have a Thraben Charm. We're going to get a Stinkweed, though. Why not? Keep it coming. Rubble Belt Maverick. I could buff up this Stinkweed and attack for 4. And then I could also play a Scrapwork Mutt, which they can just block. I guess I could Scrapwork Mutt and then Rubble Belt the Scrapwork. And if they block that, it dies. If they don't, they block here and they take 4, but their guy still dies. Sure, I think this is our best bet. If they want to respond to this by blowing up the graveyard, so be it. Nope, it's going to go off. Discard the Stinkweed. And all of them are in our grave. So yeah, we'll take 1 back in case they do have the graveyard hate. Dread Return. We're not going to use that, though. We're going to buff up the Scrapwork Mutt for 1 turn. And then swing with the team. If they also just have a cast down for this, they could take the 4. That's kind of fine too, though. I guess that puts them to 1, but we only have this Stinkweed left. But then they have to block it every turn. They're going to block the Scrapwork. Alright, that's fine by me. They're at 2 life. I guess they have this Lembas too, which I was not really factoring in, because I was expecting them to cast something, but... Alright, they're back up at 5. Fair enough. Like, I just need them to tap out for something useless, like Blood Fountain back a couple of refurbs, attack with these, play both refurbs, and then they don't have 3 blockers, and then we can get them with the Troll. Okay, they're going to cast down finally. That makes it so that the Troll line doesn't work anymore. Abort. Well, suddenly without this 2/3 Stinkweed Imp, there's the Thraben Charm that I was expecting. Suddenly this 1 Stinkweed Imp doesn't look like it's going to get the job done very well. And they also have a Glint Hawk for a Tithing Blade. Maybe a Blood Fountain. They go Blade. Swing for 4. All we got is playing a Stinkweed Imp, and they have a Tithing Blade to kill one of them, so might as well attack for 1 first. They're going to trade, and we know they have a refurb, so I guess I'd rather play this. Play the Stinkweed, it dies to a Tithing, we take 4. They have a refurb, we can buy back the Stinkweed, we probably die. You know, I think they got us. We take 4, play the refurb, play a Skyfisher, refurb again. Buy back a Stinkweed, that's not going to do it. Nor is a Dragon Breath. Alright. They got us good. We do get to bring in all our Ancient Dredges, which their mana base looks relatively conservative as far as artifacts. Like, they only have 1 Ancient Den there, so not necessarily going to blow up everything, but hey, just blowing up refurbished familiars, Stinkweeds, and things like that is going to be good. I don't think we need the rest of this. I like Dragon Breath, but I'm just feeling like it's too many, so let's cut one of those. Not loving the Rumbles that much either. And they have a Troll, which is kind of annoying, because that means their Exhume is worse. I guess we'll just cut a Necromass here, though. Go on the play. Turn 2. Yeah, this one looks okay. We can Generous Ent to find a way, to play a Wayfinder. On turn 2, we have this Ancient Grudge. Ideally, we find red off the Wayfinder. They have an Ancient Den and a Relic of Progenitus. Well, that makes things worse. We do have the Ancient Grudge for it, though. So maybe I just cycle this Generous Ent for a red right away. They also played an Ancient Den, so I really want that to happen, I think. Oliphant as well, which finds red-black. So yeah, I'm just going to play this. Cycle the Oliphant, and then Ancient Grudge away the Relic and the Ancient Den if we can. They got a Lembas, so we can blow up the Relic while they don't have mana for it. An untapped green would be pretty nice too, because we could blow up their Ancient Den as well, but that's not going to work. I could blow up Ancient Den first, but then they can get rid of the Ancient Grudge with the Relic, so I think we have to just go for the Relic. And then pass. Hopefully they don't have another one. Maybe that would have been a reason to wait until their turn. They Lembas. Looking for a land, I would assume. Maybe they already have one, though. Scry to the top. Basilica. Buy back their Ancient Den. That's pretty good. So I can't Ancient Grudge it. Fair enough. I could just get rid of one of their Lembases. I think we're just starting with a Wayfinder, though. See what we find. So we're not going to probably Ancient Grudge this turn. No land, annoying. 3 creatures, though. But that means we don't have anything to do with the rest of our mana. Unfortunate. They have a Swamp, so they don't even have to play that Ancient Den again. Core Skyfisher into a Lembas. Again, I would assume. Yep. Tree of Tales. Gravestalker's 3. So let's play an Ancient... Or not Ancient. Let's play a Wayfinder. Hopefully we can play Gravestalker and Ancient Grudge in this turn. We found a Forest, Dread Return, and a Swamp. So Gravestalker's still 2 mana. Yeah, so I could Tree of Tales, blow up a Lembas. Doesn't do too much, though, at the moment. It just prevents the 3 life gain, which I don't really care about. So I think we're actually going to just Scrapwork Mutt. Could bin a Dread Return and just buy a Troll, but then if they have a Tithing, it's really bad, and they have 7 cards in hand. Maybe we just cast this Gravestalker. Yeah, let's just try to get the Gravestalker going, even though it's not hasty or anything like that. They Glint Hawk, buy back a Lembas, and recast it. Got that Ancient Den, finally, and they have the cast down for the Gravestalker. Attack for 2. We're going to Dredge, because we want to find Dragon Breath. Also, it's a decent blocker. Didn't find one. We did find a Dread Return and a Maverick. We want to Ancient Grudge their Den. I mean, it makes sense. It's an Ancient Den after all. And we can Dread Return a Troll. Could just Scrapwork Mutt first. But even if we hit a Breath, I don't think we're using it this turn in case of a Tithing Blade. But I could also play the Stinkweed Imp. We just wouldn't be blowing up their den. I think we want to. So yeah, let's shoot this now and just buy back a troll. They have a third Lembas. I mean, that's all they've been doing. Like, they have a lot of value, but not a ton of board presence, which can hopefully help us here. If they have more cast downs, it's going to be tough, though. Sunlit Marsh and another Relic. Well, that's pretty annoying, too. Exile a card, it'll be this Forest. They can pop that at any time. Swing in for 2. I'll take... Letting us go to our turn, so we could dredge a Stinkweed Imp. What does that really do for us except give us another Stinkweed Imp in hand? We're not going to be dread returning. I guess it could find an Ancient Grudge, which could blow up something. That's about it. Forces the Relic, but I don't think we want to do that right now, so we'll just decline. Scrapwork Mutt's not necessarily what we want either. Let's use the Maverick while we can to buff up our Troll. We can also play Dragon Fangs on it to give it trample and +1/+1. So we can attack for 8. Might as well play out a Scrapwork Mutt and dredge a Stinkweed Imp, I guess. So I don't really want to get rid of it permanently. Maybe we should have done this beforehand in case we get those Ancient Grudges. We got a Gnaw to the Bone. Well, that's going to be gone. So I could force them to use it, but on the off chance they don't and they let us Gnaw to the Bone next turn, that would be pretty good. I think they're probably going to pop it here or at their turn. Yeah, just exile the grave. Could have just declined the Scrapwork Mutt. That probably would have made more sense. They Suffocating Fumes, and then they have a Tithing Blade. Be annoying. We draw a Haunted Mire. That doesn't do too much. Guess we're going to unearth a Scrapwork and dredge. Another Scrapwork. Found a Dragon Breath. Nothing else, though. Well, we're going to unearth another one. Just try to go for the aggro play here, I guess. And also build up our graveyard again. There's an Ancient Grudge. I should have left a green up. That was a mistake. We'll attack for 4 and pass. They have a Troll. We could give it our Dragon Fangs and stuff, but we'd rather not. They swing for 4, and we're dead next turn. Dredge a Stinkweed Imp, but if we play 2 of those, that doesn't get us there. So I think we have to draw an Exhume or a Dread Return. We can put it on a Troll and we can attack for lethal. But if we bin even a Dread Return, we're not going to have enough to play 3 creatures. So top deck, no. Vault of Whispers. I guess we'll Scrapwork Mutt. We could still discard the Stinkweed Imp, draw the Dread Return, play it. We'd get it. It'd be 7 power, and then we can buff it for 1 with the Dragon Breath. So yeah, I guess if we bin the Stinkweed Imp and draw Dread Return or an Exhume, we can still get there. That's a generous end. We can Ancient Grudge something, we could cycle this, but that's it. Alright, they got us. This is like the opposite of the last league where we got so many turn 2 Exhumes. This one, it's just a million so closes. This one's tempting because it's a Conduit Pylons, but we still have to find a swamp. So like if we bin a creature, we could maybe get it, but we still have to get a swamp. So we're going to mulligan. And more Exhumes, but no creatures. I am definitely thinking 4 Dragon Breath is too much. I think we're going back to 3. And no land again. So we're at 4. What an amazing 4-card hand. I mean, Maverick, surveil a Stinkweed Imp into the grave, dredge that Stinkweed Imp into a turn 2 Necromass would be pretty hot. For against any deck that doesn't have fast removal, then we'd be in a pretty good spot from there. We found a Dragon Breath and a Stinkweed Imp. I mean, that's the dream. If we Stinkweed dredge 5 creatures, then we can play a Necromass on 2, and with haste, that'd be crazy good. They have a Landscape into a Spell Bomb. Okay. Well, if we get the 5 creatures, we could still Necromass, because I don't assume they'll do it in response, but it might not have haste. We're going to dredge. That's only 2 creatures. And since it's a Spell Bomb, I would assume that they are Wildfire as opposed to Broodscale, which is going to be a tough one. They play a bridge and pass. We get a Scrapwork Mutt. I mean, we can fill the grave more. I guess we do that so that they have to use the Spell Bomb. Unless I just want to try to draw for a land. We'll just dredge. We hit another Scrapwork Mutt and a Dread Return. Not using a Dread Return anytime soon, that's for sure. Sack their landscape. A Cleansing Wildfire. You get a Rumble. I guess we're rumbling. Still can't Dread Return though. Conduit Pylons it is. If we... I should have played this pre-combat. but I didn't realize if we conduit pylons into a creature, then we can play the Necromass. Stinkweed Imp, we'll put that in the graveyard. I'm just going to do it now, even though it might not have haste, in case they try to spellbomb this away later, before our next turn, but we're going to get a mass down. I should have done that because it would have forced the issue then. And we'll also put haste on it with the Dragon Breath if they give us the opportunity, because it'll keep them out of the graveyard at least. Might as well do both, right? I mean, I guess if we draw a Chitin Gravestalker, it would be decent to have like the threat, but again, they're just going to spellbomb it away. I don't know. They have a Krark Clan Shaman. Do they have Death Touch with the Toxin Analysis? They do. So they can wipe the board. We can dredge a Stinkweed Imp. I don't think we need to. We drew another. We can just Scrapwork Mutt, not dredge, so that we can attack them for 2. It's either that or we Gnaw to the Bone just to force the issue, or we could just play a Stinkweed Imp, none of which are very good. I guess we'll just play a Stinkweed Imp. They have a Wellspring. They have a Blast for our Imp. Looks like they're probably finally going to use the Spell Bomb. And they have a Refurb for our other Imp. Sure. Yep, go for the Spell Bomb. We draw a Wayfinder. I guess that's okay. Dread Return, some Trolls. They've got a Chrysalis. Swing for 2. We got a Tree of Tails. They got an Insight. I think we're going to lose this one. Let's just go to the next game. Not much we can do when they have a Spell Bomb on turn 1. Pre-sideboard. So let's Ancient Grudge. Take out a Breath. Ents, they get chomped, and a Rumble. Well, we have the turn 2 Exhume and an Ancient Grudge. We're going to keep this one and hope they don't have the turn 1 Spellbomb again. They do keep 7, so we'll see how good that hand is. Conduit Pylons. I was supposed to cycle the Troll in response. Bog is fine. In fact, probably what we're grabbing with this Troll. So, no, because we're grabbing a basic Swamp. So do we want this in the deck, or do we want it in our graveyard? I guess if we could find another Troll, having it access to grab the Grudge is good, so I guess we'll put this on top. Yeah, minor misplay. I was supposed to cycle the Troll in response. I usually do that, and I forgot because we're doing the Exhume. Well, no turn 1 Spell Bomb. Let's see if they just have a cast down, though. Dread Return. I guess if they do, we could just Exhume it again. That wouldn't be too bad. Boom, here's a Troll. Deal with it. Now they have the Spell Bomb. I mean, pretty good, but not good enough. Ancient Grudge without a land. Can't play it, unfortunately, on the Spell Bomb. I could bin it with the Scrapwork Mutt, but then that kind of forces them to use it. I think we just want to Stinkweed, though, the Scrapwork, because that maybe gets a Gravestalker out next turn. And they have a lot of threats to deal with. Let's just do that. 2 creatures and a Dragon Fangs, but one of them was a Stinkweed, so that's not terrible. I guess, should I be playing with my deck, like, my graveyard like this? Because it's so relevant. I don't know if people have a preference. I usually just like keeping it down there. They're going to refurb, so I could discard another Stinkweed Imp. That doesn't seem that good, though. Maybe a Dread Return. We'd go for the Ancient Grudge, because that kind of forces the Spell Bomb. Let's do that. It also gives us something to play for 2 mana, other than this Exhume, which we don't want to play. They have a Wildfire. Dredge another Stinkweed Imp. And again, that could get us a Gravestalker down. I think that's pretty good. We only have 1 creature, so I guess we still have to hit 3 or 4, but let's try. Hit another Ancient Grudge, and only 2 creatures. So this is still 3 mana. Well, that's annoying. I guess that's a waste of an Ancient Grudge. But let's do it before we attack with a Scrapwork Mutt. We could just Maverick up our Troll. That's a 2-turn kill. They didn't have cast down last turn. I could also just kill the Refurb and we hit for 8. Because killing the Spellbomb doesn't really do much. They're just going to use it. Yeah, let's do that. Kill the Refurb. We get to hit for 8. So this similarly puts them to a spot where the Troll kills them in 1 hit, just like the Maverick, but they also don't have a Familiar and we still have a Scrapwork. Another Refurb. I'll discard 1 Stinkweed. I think that's fine. Crack their Spellbomb. Gotta find removal or blockers for this Troll, but 2 more blockers for 2 mana is gonna be tough. I guess if they have Krark, Toxin, or just Krark and 2 Familiars, or Krark and a Familiar, something like that would work. They're passing, so they gotta have something. Satyr Wayfinder. I mean, all we got is attacking, so we're gonna do that, I suppose. Probably have a cast down for this and then trade here. is my guess. And then we can exhume back the troll. They get a refurb. They have a toxin just to keep themselves alive. Okay, fair enough. We can exhume this back, but then they get a refurb. That's another lethal attacker, plus it bins our stinkweed and then dredges. Lethal attacker, but also gives them a blocker. But then if we find another ancient grudge, it's good. Plus, we need a bunch of blockers for this. We don't have anything else to do. And then maybe it makes a Gravestalker cheaper. I guess we'll do it. Kind of weird. I could have just... The only other option I had was cycling a Gravestalker. So they make us discard first. We're getting rid of a stinkweed either way. Then we're going to discard something to get the stinkweed back. Probably a Dread Return, because that's too expensive. Buy back the stinkweed. We hit another Ancient Grudge and 2 creatures / artifacts for this Gravestalker. So still not very cheap. But an Ancient Grudge clears another blocker. They're going to crack a Clue. They have the Chrysalis. That blocks the Troll, but if they don't have anything else other than the Familiar, we can kill that with the Ancient Grudge. And that's still lethal. Forest is nice too, because we don't have to spend 2 on it. I guess that's kind of our whole turn either way. Or I could just unearth another Scrapwork Mutt, which means we'd still have lethal if they don't have lifelink or removal, but we also get to dredge more for the stinkweed, which means a Gravestalker could come earlier. That's also a creature for a Dread Return that we'd be potentially wasting. I guess we'll just... But it's mana. Ugh, tough choice. I guess we'll go with the Scrapwork. Bin a stinkweed, get it back. Dread Return. Alright, we'll swing with the team. They triple block here, block here. Okay. They might have another Toxin, which would kill the Troll and also gain them 4, so they'll survive. They're going to go for an Insight on the refurb. No mana, though. No colored mana, so yeah, okay. We got there. Nice. Yep, that was just their last Hail Mary. Okay, let's see if we can do a similar Exhume route, I think is the best way to win. And they had a Spellbomb on turn 2. Luckily for us, it was not quick enough. But yeah, we'd need them to not have that Spellbomb. Alright, this hand has an Ancient Grudge. Otherwise, it's pretty terrible. But if we grudge away a Spellbomb, maybe it's okay. Then we have to cycle the Stalker. It doesn't feel great, but something's telling me that it might be okay. We're gonna listen to that instinct. I'm not sure. We're gonna give it a try though. Obviously, a turn to Exhume all in hand is a lot better, but especially on the draw, that might not be good enough. They could have a Spellbomb or just a Cast Down or anything like that. And so the Ancient Grudge hand is better on the draw because they're gonna get a Spellbomb down as fast as they can. And so I don't know. We'll just give it a try. They duress us. Well, that makes it worse. They do get the Ancient Grudge if they want, which is just one use of it, or a Dread Return. Probably the Grudge, I would guess. And now they know to play around it in case they have like artifact lands like Vault of Whispers. Satyr Wayfinder's a great draw, though. We already didn't have anything on turn 1 because of the Ridgeline. This will help fill the graveyard for Gravestalkers and Necromass. They just pass here. There's another Necromass. We really want this to find us a land, and 3 creatures would be great. Well, 3 creatures, I guess, and a Dragonfangs. That's not too bad. I would have loved the land. We do get a Scrapwork Mutt, though, so we can Scrapwork Mutt for a Stinkweed, and ideally that'll fill up our graveyard enough. Just have a bridge and pass to us. We get a Scrapwork Mutt from our library. I think we're just doing this one. I guess Unearth plays around the discard a little bit better, or rather the graveyard hate. That's probably fine. Let's just Mutt. This keeps 1 extra creature in our graveyard in case this Stinkweed doesn't hit great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, we have enough to start playing Necromasses, and we have a Dragon Breath, so they can gain haste. So now we have 2 Stinkweeds in grave, but I don't think we want to dredge them. I think we just want to hit swamps ideally, so we can start playing more of these, more than 1 each turn. Familiar. I guess we're getting rid of this Dread Return. We're not going to dredge. Another Dread Return. I have an Ancient Grudge which can hit this Familiar, but they probably have like a Deadly Dispute effect, so I think we'd rather them have to just trade it off, and we'll leave it up. Get a Necromass, we can give it haste and trample. Pretty good. Swing with the team for 9 damage. They're going to trade here, or they are going to go for the sack. Deadly Dispute. I could blow up their treasure. I don't think that's really necessary. So we hit for 7. I will just leave up the Ancient Grudge, though, in case they I mean, if they play a Spell Bomb, I can make them use it right away. I think that's probably best. They have a Wildfire and a Blood Fountain. I mean, that's not a bad target for the Grudge. They're going to sack right away. I kind of want to blow up the Fountain, but when they don't have another Dispute mana up. But if they get a Spell Bomb, I really want to force them to use it right away. So they didn't, so I could blow up the Fountain now. I could also blow up a Treasure. If they have a cast down, it forces them to use it now, and then that means I can play another Necromass with haste. I think that might be better, actually, because the haste is the important part. If we can hit for another 9, we're in a good spot. So that's what we're going to do. This still also forces them to use like a Deadly Dispute effect if they have it. They let it go. So I'm going to dredge a Stinkweed Imp because we're looking for more Dragon Breath. Didn't find it. We found another Scrapwork Mutt, though. This is 9 damage. Scrapwork Mutt makes it 11. Or I could just Maverick and play another Necromass. That's 10. They go to 2. Yeah, I'm 1 short because I also can't Dragon Breath pump if I use a Scrapwork Mutt. So let's Maverick up this, make them all lethal attackers. I guess actually, what do I die to? I die to a Krark Clan Shaman. My whole board does. So that's a reason actually to go for the 1 extra damage and not just buff this up. And also not put out one of these guys before I need them. So let's just go for the Scrapwork Mutt, I guess. And we'll go for a Dredge on this Stinkweed Imp. Looking for another Dragon Breath still. Didn't find it. We have a Dread Return. Oh yeah, because also if we Dread Returned with a Dragon Breath and found a giant, a troll, that would have been lethal. Well, let's hit for 11. Put him to 1. I could still go for a Dread Return, but seeing as everything's lethal now, I don't really need a bigger guy. I know they might gain some life, but I think putting all of our eggs in 2 baskets is worse. So I think we'll just pass. Because it's easier for them to have 2 cast downs than for them to have like a cast down and 2 or 3 blockers. Maybe not though. They could have a Chrysalis and a cast down pretty easily. In which case having a troll wouldn't be bad. They go for a Dispute on the Blood Fountain though. Desperately looking for something. Something that'll save them. Wellspring. That ain't it. Another Dispute. 3 more cards. They have a Vault of Whispers and Insight it away. Still could have the Krark and the Toxin. That would gain them 4, but we could still gain haste with a 5 power creature. Alright, so we got a 3-2. Not bad. Obviously would have liked a better record. Hard to improve upon our previous record. What are our thoughts going forward? For Dragon Breath, I like having haste as much as possible. We're always looking for it. But drawing one is just so bad, I don't think we can justify 4 of them. The Fangs was pretty good. There were multiple times on a Necromass that it was good, or on a Troll. Generous that one time we top decked a Generous was good. So I kind of like the one of Fangs, probably 3 Breath. We went down to 1 Gnaw to the Bone in the main. I think that's fine. It's not needed in every match. And when it is, finding 1 isn't too bad. We were trying out a full 8 of the Necromass Gravestalkers, and I like that. I think it's pretty good. I wasn't a big fan of the Rumbles. There were multiple times where I wish it was a creature so that we could play a Gravestalker earlier. The Prowler doesn't hit as many cards. It's only 3, and it doesn't buy you back the mana. And those are both good, but I think just being a creature and also being able to be a 2/2 since we are an aggressive deck isn't irrelevant. That I still think I'd prefer the Prowlers over the Rumbles. So I think we swap those out. We did mulligan a lot, and in general felt like we had a lot of issues with our mana base. Luckily, the Vault of Whispers and Tree of Tales were not... they didn't hurt us in any way. They didn't get destroyed, and they didn't make it so we couldn't search for one of them when we needed to with our cyclers. I do think they were relevant a little bit with the Gravestalker, and I just kind of forgot in the earlier matches. Not having a mountain to search for with the Oliphant was unfortunate, so it's possible having a Generous Ent instead of the Oliphants would have been better, but there were multiple times where the Trample was very relevant. That one game against Broodscale that may or may not have mattered, but being able to pull out the Oliphant with our double Dread Return trick was kind of cool. Made it so that they couldn't chump, so it's possible we could even go down all of the Generous Ents or Oliphants and then throw in 1 mountain. It's going to make it rough though. If we do that, we might want to get rid of Mavericks, but I kind of like the extra counter from Maverick as a little bit of a way to make a Stinkweed Imp bigger as a nice blocker, really hard to get through, or just extra damage on a Troll so it goes from a 4-turn clock to a 3-turn clock. Both of those seem really relevant, and I feel like I like them a lot. I also do think as much as Conduit Pylons is good for the Surveil, having 2 of them might be too much. Having to spend 2 mana to get our red splash or even our green when we don't have a forest is pretty tough. So I think maybe we go down one of those and try out a mountain. And this leaves us with 1 more card we could put in. So maybe we put in another Cycler, because there were a lot of times we wanted more lands, or we could put in just another Prowler, which finds lands as well. We could also just put in another land. This is the amount that the combo version had, but honestly, we probably want a little bit more than the combo version because we're casting some more expensive cards sometimes. So maybe we put in another Tree of Tales. 15 lands? That doesn't seem unreasonable. Sideboard seems pretty good. Ancient Grudges are good in the right match. Ray of Revelation is good in the right match. Reunion. We want pretty much everything to have flashback, and it does. So, I don't know. Let me know if there are any other cards you think would make this deck better. I have been enjoying it a lot and kind of want to keep pushing it, seeing if it can be a real contender, probably at like the tier 3 level or something like that. But if opponents aren't playing Graveyard Hate, this deck might be able to just sweep them away. Thank you very much to my patrons, including my $10 patron, Howard Granger. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.